Hello, my name is Chris Robinson, and I'm doing my podcast on the evolution of copyright in music. The host's name is Dan Rodriguez, and the expert is Peter DeCoyer. The first thing I took away from viewing and hearing this podcast was public and private ordering. Contracts to be involved are because copyrights doesn't exist. Congress and courts need documentation. In the days of the player piano back in the 1900s, composers would copyright only one piece of work because Congress and the government wouldn't pay the composers anything. According to Mark Sanchez, when copyright owners exercise their freedom to choose its characters as regulation, the concern underlines such as rhetoric seem to be solely for the freedom of would be users of creative works, rather thanks those who create or finance them. The second thing that I took away from this podcast was that the FM radio doesn't pay for sound recordings. They pay the producers and the songwriters, but they don't pay the artists. According to what mentioned above from Sundot, FM radio has used whatever music it wants without paying a cent to the musicians, the vocalists, labels that creates it. It further on continue that satellite radio is just as bad according to Congressman Nedler. And the third thing that I took away from this is the use of webcasting. Webcasting is now getting better on board with artists getting paid what they are worth. But it's still really bad for streaming services, much as Pandora and iHeart Radio. The creator gets paid less than a penny per play. These streaming services are very cheap paying the artists for their sound recordings. And the last but not least, when dealing with copyrights, I will make sure to properly copyright my work, to register my sound recordings within SR forms, any lyrics with a TX form, and PA for performances, right? Making sure everything is in line first, making sure everything is in row right before I do any type of business. Because the industry will use your work, and so as with the radios, they won't pay you, and also with the government it's already hard enough. The government really doesn't want to pay you for your form of work, even when you have your copyrights all in row. So just make sure you are protected. So if a company / services is using your work of a misuse, you can be able to take them to court to get the legal justice that you deserve. Thank you. This is my podcast. Have a wonderful evening.